Sportsfile Africa Sports Network. My name is Sam. Welcome to another interesting edition of this program designed to take you on a journey ride around the world of the Major League Soccer. And today's edition, I'm pleased and opportune to I'm privileged to have one of our own, someone who has that in-depth knowledge about the Major League Soccer and also about the Houston Dynamo. Christian from Quattro Quattro, I don't know if I pronounce it right, podcast, YouTube, and all whatnot. He will be joining me on the program for us to really dissect the week 3 of the Major League Soccer, with Houston Dynamo in perspective. And also, we will touch a little bit about the second leg quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League, the all-MLS clash between Philadelphia Union and Atlanta United, looking at the Philly Union home form and their Champions League form. Two contrasting. And also we'll talk about the Texas Derby coming up this weekend in Frisco between the Houston Dynamo and FC Dallas. You know what happened, the final game of the La Copita. Yes, how that game ended. So we'll talk about a whole lot of things coming up on today's edition of Sportsfile on Africa Sports Network. So I'm going to bring in my guest so he can tell us more about it. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me on.
It's going fine, man. So tell our viewers about you, because I don't think I pronounce your name really well.
Yeah, so my name is Christian, and I am the host of the YouTube channel, also the podcast Cuatro Cuatro Dos. We're basically we try to highlight all the soccer here in Houston, and we talk about the Houston Dynamo, Houston Dash, and we dabble everywhere in the world about soccer here in the city of Houston.
You dabble everywhere in the world about soccer here in Houston. Alright, let's look at the week 3 game between the Houston Dynamo and LAFC. That was a huge Western Conference showdown between those two great sides. And Dynamo, even though they fell behind to an offside goal which the referees could have called, but they didn't. But the way they responded, within 2 minutes of going down, what does that say about the Houston Dynamo?
I mean, it says that they're resilient. Tab Ramos, whenever he came in, he talked about having guys that had a winner's mentality, a team that respected their opponent, but also did not fear them. And I think we saw that very clearly. Houston Dynamo, they went down, but they usually when stuff happens like that, that could bring your morale down as a team. But I mean, they didn't let that decide the end of the game, so they came back, like you said, 2 minutes later, counterattack, ball down to Fafa, and then Fafa put it in for Tyler Pasher, closing in the back door. And that's what you want from a team, to be able to come back when the situation is looking like it's going bad.
But looking at that game, I want to hear your major takeaway, because after the game, during the game, Tab Ramos, during the post-match conference he made, I think he sounded a little bit pissed, looking at his choice of word, his tone, and stuff like that the team couldn't keep possession. They couldn't string 3 or 4 passes together. If they fight so hard to regain possession, they give it away cheaply. So, in his voice, you can feel or you can sense that anger, that frustration, on the way the team played. But he went ahead to praise them on how they responded, with Tyler Pasha being the yeoman on making that exceptional play against the LAFC. Let me hear your takeaway from that game.
Yeah, man. So, it seemed, like you said, Tab Ramos didn't look too happy because, in my perspective, we saw a lot of mistakes from Joe Corona. Joe Corona seemed like, from my personal opinion, he didn't seem to have a good day in the field. He was losing a lot of balls. He was taking too long to make that extra pass that he had to always, because he's a recovering midfielder. So recover the ball with Matias Vera, and then just basically, give it out to Fafa, Memo, Tyler out on the wings. But he was taking just 1 second too long, and we were missing that last pass to that third, that last third of the field, which is the attacking third. But yeah, man, it makes it a lot harder for the team. When you cannot keep the ball on your guys' feet. It just makes everything. All the hard work, all the hard pressing, all the high pressing. All the times that you pull your team out to press and win the ball back, and then just to lose it. In the first one or two ball possessions that you have. Like 1-2 touches. It just kind of throws everything away because your teammates are getting tired. All your players are pressing high, and then you win the ball back, but you can't capitalize on it. It's just a waste of energy, of resources. And yeah, I mean, I completely understand why Ty Ramos wasn't happy about that situation with the team.
All right, away from Houston Dynamo, let's look at the crowd there. The Western Conference. Looking at the Western Conference, Seattle Sounders seems to be the only perfect team in the league at the moment. The way they dismantled LA Galaxy, and also their opening day victory, where they recorded, I think, the highest number of goals during the opening weekend. They kind of have sent signal to their Western Conference rivals and listen, we are the team to beat this season. What would you say about that?
Yeah, for sure. Seattle is always they're always been one of the top dogs in the Western Conference. They're always been fighting for everything. And yeah, clear message to everybody in the West. They're nobody to mess with. I think Portland. Maybe they have been having probably a poor show in the MLS because obviously they have their sights in the CONCACAF Champions League, but I think once either they're eliminated or they make it far, however far they'll make it, I think they're gonna jump back into the MLS and put all their focus on there. But as of right now, Seattle is the top dog on top, and they're gonna continue being the top dog till somebody steps up and challenges them, to do something greater for that. I guess I could say that.
Yeah, Austin FC seems to be, a little bit a team that nobody has given a chance because this is their debut season. But 2 wins on the road. Their only defeat was at the hand of LAFC, who are, touted to be a top contender in the Western Conference. But Austin FC fought in the Western Conference. 2 wins on the road. They went to Colorado, beat the Rapids 3-1, and they also won this week 3 of the MLS. What can you say about Austin FC?
Yeah, Austin FC, like you say, new team, newcomers to the MLS. It's just one of those things that we have to kind of see them week by week and see how they progress. They started off a little slow, but every week after that they've been picking it up, and victory after victory. It's gonna be fun to see them play at home. Because as of now, they're still working on their stadium. They're still putting all the parts together to finish that off. But I think having playing at home is probably going to be a huge advantage for them as well. But I mean, if they're doing pretty good outside of their home, I think it'll be really hard to beat them. When they're playing back in Austin, for sure.
When they're playing back in Austin, but they seems to be enjoying that honeymoon in the MLS, even though they've played 3 games on the road, picking two wins. Minnesota United seems to be in trouble right now. FC seems to be in trouble. Minnesota shipping 10 goals, they've yet to score any goal. I mean, if MLS have a relegation system, don't you think Minnesota might be the prime candidate for relegation?
As of right now, yes. Minnesota, last year they went far. They do have a great team. It's just it's just a matter of they started off on the left foot. They started off really, really slow. Three games, 3 losses. I think everybody expected Minnesota to come back to this season, this year, to come back a little higher. Fight with the big dogs. Kind of show what they can do. With their big signings. But yeah, as of right now, Cincinnati and Minnesota would be, on the lower side of things.
All right, let's go to the Champions League in CONCACAF. Second leg, last 8, all MLS affair between Atlanta United and Philadelphia Union. the first leg, no one saw that scoreline coming, and I must say it's a game of two halves. Atlanta, dominated possession and goal scoring chances. Andre Blake pulled off a couple of saves for Philadelphia, but coming into the second half, Philly Union took over and scored three quick goals to go home and hold a 3-0 away goal advantage going into the return leg today. Let me hear your take, because when you look at Philadelphia domestic form is poor, but in the Champions League in CONCACAF they're pulling their weight. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean Philadelphia is it's kind of the same thing that's happening with Portland. They're kind of they're divided. In a way, they're putting all their might and all their strengths into the CONCACAF Champions League, which is understandable because it gives you a more international view of things. And I think obviously they're probably playing their second team in the MLS in the domestic league. Which is understandable. You want to rotate your guys. You want to put your guys in the bigger games. Against the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League. But I mean, I commend them. Going into Atlanta, 3-0 over there, and now coming back home, where they're comfortable, and with a big lead, 3 goals, away, and now they can just kind of sit back, relax, and hopefully, move on to the next round because as the tournament goes into the end, the teams get harder. You have teams like Monterrey, Columbus, America, Cruz Azul. Like the teams get really harder towards the end. So you want to put all your as of now you want to put all your marbles in that basket and hope for the best and hopefully get to represent the MLEs in the United States. In the bigger picture, not only in the local sense of stuff.
Yeah, to represent the MLS. But when you look at the outcome of results between MLS teams and Liga MS, it kind of contrasting. But when you look at the quality of some MLS teams, they look very good. But going into the continent, Liga MS team seems to have that edge over MLS team. Look at the outcome of first leg result. Toronto beaten by Cruz Azul. Club America played 1-1 against Portland. Montreal also got a result against Columbus Crew, 2-2 draw. Or is it 2-2 draw? Yes, if I'm not mistaken. Now they are going on the road to Mexico to play these teams, and these teams are very good at home. I think at the end of the day we might have is soccer. Nothing is done until the final whistle. But when you look at how these Liga MS teams dominate on their home turf, it's kind of an uphill task for FC Toronto to overturn that 1-3 deficit they lost at home to Cruz Azul. They are in Mexico, and also for Columbus Crew also to go there, and get a better result. But we might be looking at one MLS team in the last 4. What do you think on that?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. Mexican teams have always dominated CONCACAF Champions Leagues from like the beginning, and they're going to be dominated until the MLS puts really really good teams. And I think lately in the last couple of years, they've been showing out. LAFC last year made it pretty far, and they were really really close to winning it all. But I think as of right now, if anything, Columbus and Portland have the better chance now, just because they're tied. Toronto, being 3-1 down and going to Mexico is going to be hard for them to come back. But Columbus almost beat Monterrey. Monterrey came back towards like the end of the game to tie the game 2-2. So it's just a matter of seeing if they can go out there and represent the United States, represent the MLS as a league, and hopefully they can bring some honor back to the MLS and show the world that the MLS can compete with Liga MX teams as well. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun for sure.
Show the world what MLS can do. All right, before I let you go, let's talk about the Texas Derby coming up between the Dynamo and FC Dallas at the weekend. We look at the result in the La Copita. Dynamo lost 3-0 at the BBVA, and also the battle for the Capitan this season. What are we expecting from that game? Looking at Dynamo away form, which have not really improved.
Yeah, I mean, going up to Dallas has always been hard for us. Historically, we had pretty good some games that turned out well. But Dallas has a really good team right now, and we have to put some respect on their name. I guess as of right now, they're coming out from a big win. But Dallas is going to be a hard team to beat this year. They have Pepe, they have Riquarte, they have a really good, strong attacking players. And the Houston Dynamo is not known for having a good defense, at least last year. But I think we're turning around, and it's a derby. Anything can happen in the derby. Every ball is to the death, and hopefully, we can come back home to Houston with a win. But it's going to be a tough win for sure if we do win. It's going to be a tough one.
All right, Christian, man, I really appreciate you for your time in chopping up and breaking down the MLS Week 3 and also the Texas Derby coming up. I hope to meet you at BBV, and when Dynamo plays Sporting KC. That should be on the May 12th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll see you there. And thank you for having me on.
All right, appreciate that, man. Christian, man, God bless you, brother.
Same to you. Have a good one.
All right. All right, still talking about the soccer news coming from all over the world, but this time around we're about to switch. We're about to switch to the UEFA Champions League and have a guest all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, to talk about this with me. I will tell you who that guest is after this timeout. Alright, welcome back to the program. It's still Sportsfile here on Africa Sports Network. My name is Sam, from the land of Uncle Sam. Join me on Mondays and Saturdays on Elegbete TV / radio for MLS as I see them, as I they break down all the story where they come from MLS for Pidgin, for English, whichever, even Spanish, we will speak and join. You can view this program on our YouTube channel. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Facebook or subscribe. Just like our Facebook page, yes, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, and all the social media platforms, we're right there. Alright, then we're switching up things, trying to mix up things right here on Africa Sports Network as I introduce you the Amazon, the queen of sports analysis from Lagos, Nigeria, another person that Amaka Okolie, a seasoned sports analyst and radio TV sports presenter. Amaka, welcome to Sportsfile on Africa Sports Network.
Thank you very much, Sam.
All right, I'm honored. I'm very, very happy that you made our time to join us on the show on a short notice, and God bless you for that. So I know you're a Chelsea fan. That's why I brought you on the show so we can have chop it up. Chelsea up against Real Madrid. I know that game comes up tomorrow, but we can chop it up a little bit here and see what we are expecting. See, remove your fan cap, remove your fan cap and put on. Because that your heart, your mind, your soul is in this game, wanting Chelsea to see if they can grab their second Champions League trophy in their history. What are we expecting from this game between Chelsea and Real Madrid?
Well, it's going to be quite interesting. The first leg of that game actually showed us that, you know, it was all about experience of Real Madrid and the sheer grit of Thomas Tuchel men, showing that they really wanted to prove something. I'm sure nobody expected Chelsea to be here at this point in time, but here they are. They went to the Bernabeu and got a point, which I believe that if they had a more clinical striker, they would have gotten a better result at Real Madrid. But at 1-1, Real Madrid are not out. And now they have their very, very experienced defender, talking about Sergio Ramos. He's going to be available for that game because the team sheet is out. And they also have Mendy in the game also. That's the fullback for Real Madrid. So a couple of their players are back, and now they're coming to Stamford Bridge. Yes, Chelsea managed to get an away goal, but we know that with Real Madrid and the experience they have in the Champions League, and with a coach like Zinedine Zidane, who won the Champions League back to back to back, and that's some record. So it's going to be a very interesting game at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. And truth is that it's going to take a miracle for Chelsea to go through, even though everybody is expecting that maybe because they got an away goal. But with this Real Madrid side and with a Karim Benzema who doesn't need so much chances, to score goals, it's going to be a very interesting encounter at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you very honest talking about how open their game is really. Because look, even despite the away goal advantage Chelsea got away in Spain, everybody's thinking yeah it's over. But when you look at the experience of Real Madrid in Champions League, 13 times champion, no be beans. They don't just wake up winner. You understand? They really know how to play this game at this stage. And Zinedine Zidane, like you rightly say, has been there before, so he understands the magnitude of this game and how to approach this game. Look at how they dismantled Liverpool. But when you look at some of the odds or the statistics Chelsea and Real Madrid have produced, or Real Madrid against English teams, when you look at the odd, Real Madrid are winless in their last four away games against English side in the Champions League. They drew two and they lost twice. So even though all these things, all these numbers, they say is history, but when you look at them, they a little bit come into play. Look at the return leg against Liverpool at Anfield, and they're goalless. So if this game goes ahead to end goalless, Chelsea are right through in the finals, and that would be a huge record for Thomas Tuchel. Back-to-back Champions League with two different teams. He was there with PSG, lost to Bayern Munich. Now he's about to take Chelsea to their finals. So if he should do that, huge kudos to Thomas Tuchel. So away from Chelsea, let's talk about today's game. PSG against Man City at Etihad. We know how the first leg ended, and it's an uphill battle for Paris Saint-Germain. I must confess to that. Looking at the experience of Pep Guardiola at this stage, and this is their only chance. I think they've not been this close to the title in the Champions League. What is your take on that?
Well, for Pep Guardiola, I think last season everybody thought, okay, this was their chance, especially since they were facing Lyon, a team that we all thought that they are bigger than Lyon, they are better in terms of players, but somehow they were eliminated in the Champions League to the shock of everyone. Now this time around, they get paired with PSG. They won the first leg at the Parc des Princes Stadium. The second leg is happening at the Etihad. So for Pep Guardiola, he knows that this is the best chance, the best opportunity for Man City to actually win this league. And credit to Manchester City, because the first leg of this game, they were not outstanding, if you ask me. It was an open game between them and PSG. PSG started very well. City were not outstanding, if you ask me, in the first leg, but they still managed to find a way to win by 2-1 in the first leg of that game. Because if you watch the first leg, it was just the goal by the set piece by the goal by Kevin De Bruyne, and the set piece by Mahrez, and then PSG got a red card. So everything seems to be falling in place for Pep Guardiola's men. And this return leg at the Etihad, if you ask me, is going to be very difficult for PSG, because now they are sweating to know if Kylian Mbappe will actually. Yes, he traveled with the squad, but he missed their last win in the French Ligue 1 because he was injured. And now, even the first leg, he truly wasn't fit, because we didn't really see much of Kylian Mbappe in the first leg. So for me, I think this is the case of where Jurgen Klopp. I remember when Liverpool played Barcelona that year that they went on to win the Champions League. Remember, Salah was not fit. Everybody was thinking, oh, Klopp was going to rush him to play because it was Barcelona, he had to play. But he benched him and brought in, I think, Shaqiri and the rest of them, and they won 3-0 at Anfield. So I think for Pochettino, if Kylian Mbappe is not fit, there's no need forcing a player that is not fit just to, everybody, some people will tell you, oh, a one like Kylian Mbappe is better than so and so player. But I think a fully fit player is what is needed at this point. Maybe a Maro Icardi or something if Mbappe is not fit. There's no need throwing a player who is not fit just because Mbappe. Because truth is that you need players that are fit, 100% fit to play against Manchester City. So we just have to wait until the team sheet is out to know if Mbappe is actually going to start this match. But for me, nothing is impossible, because it's not impossible for PSG to win by 2-0 at the Etihad or something. But we know Manchester City, the good thing about them is that all round, they're a perfect team. From the goalkeeper to the defense to the midfield to the attack. For Pep Guardiola, this season, he played 23 games without fielding a natural striker, and he won 21 times out of those times. That's to tell you that that man is a magician. He comes up with something, is working. Whether he's fielding a striker or he's not fielding a striker, everything seems to be working for Pep Guardiola at this point. So for me, everyone is hoping, is actually thinking that City are going to go through. But it's not over for me, because I've seen things happen, especially in the UEFA Champions League. But everything is just leaning towards Manchester City. And if you ask me, I think this is their time.
Everything leading towards Manchester City, and everybody is thinking that this might be the time. But Champions League is a night of European drama. We've seen that happen several times. And I think complacency might be their greatest undoing if they go in there being cocky and being that arrogant, and that false air of arrogancy might, implode them. But just like you rightly said, Liverpool and Barcelona, no Salah. It was Divock Origi that started that major comeback. So you need a fully fit player that can run for 90 minutes if you want to stand a chance of winning any game in the Champions League, in any soccer competition. So if Mbappe is not fit, it will be detrimental to his career if Pochettino should play him. What if he goes ahead to get injured? That will keep him on the sideline for a long time. That will not be good for France, looking at the European tournament coming up around the corner. So that's that. But when you look at also the odds, Man City are unbeaten in all 4 previous European meetings with Paris Saint-Germain. So they know how to get the business done against PSG. And Pep Guardiola, having won that trophy a couple of times with FC Barcelona, unable to replicate that trophy haul with Bayern Munich, and coming to Manchester City, that has eluded him for a long number of years. So he will cherish it. He will cherish to win it ahead of the Premier League. I bet you that he want to win it with Manchester ahead of the Premier League. But 90 minutes will tell us, if they are really, really ready for that. Alright, looking at that game, what if Paris Saint-Germain coming there in the next 20 minutes is 2-0 PSG? What will be going on in your mind?
Well, I think if PSG scores as in 2 goals in the first 20 minutes of the game, then we'll have a football match on our hands. But one thing I know for sure is that PSG, they are not a complete team. Like, they are not as complete as that of Manchester City, because for PSG, yes, they've got good attack. The attack is fantastic. You see Neymar, you see Mbappe, you see Angel Di Maria. Then their midfield is kind of light, if you ask me. Then the defense, they've got a fantastic goalkeeper in Keylor Navas. Like, he's fantastic, that goalkeeper. But the back line, I don't think that back line is so good that Man City cannot
breach it at Etihad.
No. Their back line is not fantastic for me. So that back line is a back line that Man City attack can score any time.
All right, I'll free Foden over Raheem Sterling. What do you say about that?
Well, I totally agree. Based on current form, Phil Foden is the magician. Like, he's the hottest thing. I look at the 3 Lions squad and I really envy them, because for every position it looks like players are springing up. So many players. I can call a position in England, in the England national team, and you have like 3 players, young players, all trying to make it to Euros. They've got a fantastic team. You see Phil Foden, you see Mason Mount, you see Jack Grealish. You're thinking, who is Southgate going to take to Europe? Because they've got so many players. And right now, Phil Foden is doing the job. The way he plays, he plays like so mature for his age, that when you watch him play, he's just like Mason Mount for me. 100% confidence. You wouldn't even know that, like, these are players that are still growing into their own and trying to, get a grasp of this thing called experience in Europe. Fantastic player. And Sterling, he's really, really dropped points. And one thing about Pep Guardiola is that he doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care how much you cost. He doesn't care what your name is. If you're not performing, if you're not giving him what he wants,
you're going to be on the bench.
Right now, Sterling is not performing.
At all.
Missing chances. So I'm not shocked that Phil Foden is ahead of him in the starting lineup.
What if we should witness another all-English finals? Maybe Chelsea get the job done against Real Madrid, and City, the job done against PSG. Another all-English final, just like we saw Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspurs 2 seasons ago.
Well, it's actually going to make for a very good finals, because it's going to be very interesting. Thomas Tuchel versus Pep Guardiola. They are not against each other. When they were in Germany, one was coaching Borussia Dortmund, the other was coaching Bayern
Munich,
and Tuchel already beat him in the FA Cup semi-finals. where they are now in the finals to play Leicester City. But trust me, if Chelsea meets Manchester City in the finals of the Champions League, it's going to be very interesting. But I'm still going to give it to Pep because for Manchester City, is it like this is like that time when Chelsea were going all out for it, when they had to throw everything in. That year that they beat Bayern at the Allianz Arena is going to be just like that for Manchester City. Like they're going to give it all. But the thing about Thomas Tuchel is that he has really organized this Chelsea side that defensively now Chelsea can be winning 1-0, and that 1-0 would be just good enough for them to go on to win a game. Unlike before, where you could be like, oh, Chelsea could be winning 1-0 and 87th minute they concede. But under Thomas Tuchel, they've been so organized, they concede less goals. And the reason why they don't score much is that they do not have strikers that are able to finish off their chances because they do create chances, they play very well, but a finisher is what Chelsea is lacking in the team, and it usually costs them a lot of times. But for me, an all-English finals would be interesting, but I'll be tipping Man City to win it if it's an all-English finals.
Yeah, talking about Chelsea creating chances and not being able to take it, the culprit is no other person than Timo Werner. But even though, yes, he has contributed a lot in terms of assists and a number of goals that Chelsea has scored this season, but he was not signed on that huge transfer tag for him to be fluffing his lines and not, being confident in front of goal. What do you think is the problem of Timo Werner in front of goal?
First off, I think for Timo Werner, there are so many strikers that naturally they are not supposed to be your typical nine. That nine that stays in front of goal. Some of them just, are there to play on the wings, be a decoy to the main striker. I do not see Timo Werner as like your main top nine because when you watch the way he plays, the way he cuts in from the wings, the assist he gives, like sometimes I don't even get mad at him because even when he doesn't score, he's always a menace to defenders. He's always like creating problems for defenders. He's giving assists and the rest of them. Even though Chelsea fans and everybody wants him to score goals, but sometimes you watch what he brings, and that is why I think Thomas Tuchel just cannot put him on the bench because of what he contributes to the team, his pace, his cutting, and the rest of them. So for me, he really, if Chelsea. Time has shown us again that Chelsea, the kind of strikers that thrive at Chelsea are those physical strikers. Those strikers that are like bullies, the Lukaku, the Haaland, the Didier Drogba, the Diego Costa. Those are the kind of strikers that actually thrive at Chelsea. When you see all of those sleek ones, the ones that dribble, the Mata, the Torres, they don't work at Chelsea. And that's exactly what Timo Werner is. He's not your physical nine that stays in front of goal. He's that type that wants to stay on the wing and find a way to dribble and cut in, and it doesn't work at Chelsea. So and currently it's not working. But I'm going to cut Timo Werner some slack because it's his first season, and if you check his statistics, it's not that bad. Goals and assists. So I think that's what is going to be the headache for Thomas Tuchel because he's not scoring goals, but he's bringing a whole lot to the Chelsea team.
He's bringing a whole lot to the Chelsea team. So if I let you go, one word for Chelsea fans, because you're a Chelsea fan, and even though you say you give it to Pep, if you become an all-English fan, but down deep in your heart, you will be believing and wanting your team to triumph, which is nothing wrong about that. Even though we're professionals when we're coming for camera, but behind the camera we're still fans. We support team. That's why you see Gary Neville all up in Man United business, Jamie Carragher all up in Liverpool business, even though they are pundit, but they still have love and affinity for the teams they played for. So now let me hear your word for Chelsea fans who will be watching the show.
For Chelsea as well, whatever the season turns out to be, whether we don't move to the finals or we get to the finals or whatever it is, I think right now, with what Thomas Tuchel has done, we're actually on the right path. That's what I believe. So I actually believe Chelsea will finish with a silverware this season, be it the Champions League or the FA Cup, and then a top four finish. And we would actually say it's been a fantastic season. And then we go on to look at next season. So for me, as a Chelsea fan, I'm happy so far, with what the team has done, with how the boys are playing. I think I enjoy watching Chelsea play now, and that's a fantastic feeling for me. And I can't remember the last time I felt like being confident to watch Chelsea play. The way they play, everything about them. And then for the players the newly signed players, I'm also hopeful that come next season, after they do like a pre-season with Thomas Tuchel, they're actually going to come good and everything is going to be all right come next season.
Everything gonna be alright come next season, Amaka. I really appreciate your time and effort and your analysis, the way you chop it up, man. That's so professional, and you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. I really appreciate your time and effort. Thank you very much, Amaka.
You're welcome, Sam.
Yeah, say hi to my friends at Nigeria FM 102.7. This I'm still family, I'm still family, I'm still family. When I visit Nigeria, I come down there again. I'm still family. Sometimes I still log online, to listen to your program, Sports Matter. I also listen to you. The other day I was watching. Was it your IG live on Lagos Talk? Yeah, I was watching it. So to tell you, I still keep tabs with what's going on. Really appreciate you, Amaka.
Thank you. You're welcome.
All right. Sportsfile Africa Sports Network continue after this little timeout. Alright, you're welcome back to the program. It's still Sportsfile on Africa Sports Network, and my name is Sam, chopping it up right here in the studio. I just spoke to Amaka Okoli from Lagos, Nigeria. She just chopped up that 4-second leg semi-finals game between the Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City at the Etihad, and also Chelsea against Real Madrid, second leg semi-finals in the UEFA Champions League. And I also spoke to Chris of Quattro Podcast and YouTube about the CONCACAF Champions League, and also week 3 of the MLS regular season. The Texas Derby coming up on Saturday between FC Dallas and Houston Dynamo in Frisco, Texas. Right then, on this note, we come to the end of today's edition of Sportsfile on Africa Sports Network. Join me same time, same station, as I take you on a jolly ride around the world of the Major League Soccer. My name is Sam. Thank you for watching.